Hi guys, so it's about 7 o'clock on Friday evening. My last video was on Wednesday morning. We're on our way into the hospital. Quite a lot has happened since then. I am still a bit foggy, so I'm probably a bit out of it still, but yeah, so basically the operation went really well actually. Most of Wednesday I was quite out of it because I had a lot of painkillers and obviously the anaesthetic is still sort of pumping around your body, so I have to say that when I did first come around from the operation, I actually felt quite good, which was surprising. I didn't really have any major pain or anything, so I think that's probably because I had quite a lot of drugs in me, but that was good. I was a little bit concerned, obviously, because the main thing was I didn't know what they'd actually done when I came around in the surgery. And I know, speaking to the surgeon before he went in, he said that I'd probably come out about 2 o'clock time. They took me down to theatre about 8:30 in the morning. But I noticed the time was about 3:30, so in my head I was kind of thinking that's probably not a good sign. I was probably overthinking it, but I was just thinking, oh, maybe it took longer because they did have to do the full hysterectomy or something like that. And Anthony was with me, and he stayed around for most of that day. But then he went he's staying locally, as I said, and he went to sort himself out. So the surgeon came about 10:15 in the evening, which I don't know how I managed to wake up because I was pretty much asleep for most of Wednesday. But I just sort of opened my eyes and saw him there, so I sort of forced myself to wake up. And he was saying how the surgery went well and there was no complications. And then he said that they'd actually managed to save the ovary, the fallopian tube and the womb, which is just unbelievable. I mean, I just can't. I mean, obviously when he told me I got quite emotional. I still haven't really got my head around that. See, it's the best possible news we could have even hoped for. I mean, more than we would have hoped for. I'd kind of built myself up in my head of thinking it might not be full hysterectomy of everything out, but I was kind of really preparing myself for being thrown into the menopause and having the ovary taken. So to know that everything has been managed to be saved is just amazing, like so amazing. So I was pretty much on a high from that. Well, I still am, I think. So that's really good news. Yesterday was Thursday, the day after the operation. I spent the night in the intensive care unit, which is just a standard thing. But I have to say I was just kept really comfortable. Like, I didn't suffer any pain at all. No nausea or anything. I actually just felt really comfortable. They were giving me this, I think it's called fentanyl, which is a very strong painkiller. I think it's quite a bit stronger than morphine, which I had the buzzer to press myself. So I think, to be honest, I was quite out of it for most of Wednesday and Wednesday night. Thursday I wasn't using it as much because I was I'm still really foggy in the head, but I still didn't really feel any pain. It wasn't until they actually moved me, they had to move me and slide me across into another bed to move me to the ward, just a normal ward, and that sparked off like quite bad pain. But obviously I've been sitting or laying in the bed for quite a while at that point after the surgery, so I guess that's probably to be expected. But I did start pressing then the fentanyl like quite a lot, which was amazing for the pain, but actually made me feel like just like really out of it, like mentally, like in my head I was really spaced out, which wasn't a bad thing yesterday. But then as the day wore on, I think it was kind of making me a bit nauseous as well, and kind of like that light-headed feeling was getting a bit too much. So I stopped having any of that fentanyl. I stopped pressing it at all. I did ask the nurse to give me some anti-sickness as well, because I was feeling a bit nauseous. Not terrible, I have to say, it just sort of came on quite quickly. But then she gave me the anti-sickness almost immediately. So if you can see in my hand here, can't really see. There was a lot more lines in there actually. I had an arterial line, which was sort of on the underside of my hand, which was measuring my blood pressure while I was in the ICU, but that got taken out before I came to the ward. And then I also had a cannula on the top of my hand, which they took out yesterday because it was getting a bit swollen. It was painful when they were trying to use it, so that came out. And then earlier on today they took out another cannula I had, which was for the fentanyl, because I said I didn't want to use it anymore. But yeah, so since really probably early afternoon today, I've stopped having any of the strong painkillers. They did give me a couple of paracetamol and ibuprofen with my lunch, which I was a little bit worried about taking the ibuprofen, because I know on an empty stomach it can make you feel a bit ill. And I've just been having like basically liquids, so been having like just soups basically, well not even soup, like a consomme, like a vegetable, just like a vegetable water basically. I had a tiny bit of that yesterday, but pretty much just water yesterday. But then I had a full cup of that, just like a mug size, for lunch, and a jelly, which was fine actually. I've just had some dinner, which is basically the same thing again, so the same vegetable consomme, and then a little bit of mashed potato this time as well on the side, which I haven't eaten all of it because I'm just really nervous about how my bowels are going to react, obviously after the surgery, when everything, they actually fill you with a gas for surgery, and obviously then they're pulling everything out, and then putting it all back. So the nurses and the doctors were saying obviously your bowels pretty much go to sleep, so you just need to be really careful to just have sort of clear liquids and just build up really slowly, to avoid bad pains. I was getting quite bad pains from that gas that they'd put in me earlier today, but that subsided as well. So overall it's actually been like amazingly better than the surgery I had last year. My recovery was completely different, not good at all. The only thing I do have to say though is that this morning when they first got me out of the bed, which is the first time I'd got up, I was okay at first. It was quite painful around the incision and things like that, actually getting up and moving around, but it wasn't that bad. I managed to get into the chair, but then I was getting the pain. It was sort of like a burning sensation where the incision was. So I pressed the fentanyl just once, and I seemed okay, so the nurse sort of left me there, but then literally within a few minutes, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, I've been calling it an episode, but I think what happened is my body just went into shock, because it hasn't, obviously it's been through a major trauma, and then because I wasn't moved yesterday, I'm not quite sure why, because I think they were planning to do that, but anyway, so it hadn't been until this morning, I hadn't been out of bed at all or moved around, but I just, like, my whole body, like, I just went hot flush, sweating. I was like retching like I was going to be ill, but then I couldn't breathe, so I ended up passing out. Which I'm not a person to faint or anything like that anyway, so that kind of freaked me out quite a bit, because it went on for quite a few minutes. As I say, then I passed out and then I sort of came round again. When I came round, I didn't necessarily have a pain, but I had sort of pins and needles all over my body for quite a few minutes, and I was like feeling like I couldn't breathe, so they gave me oxygen and things like that. So in the scheme of things, considering that was only a few minutes, I can't really complain. But that was quite scary. And then about 10 minutes later, the physio came up and wanted to get me up to try and have a bit of a walk, which I got quite panicky about, because obviously I'd literally just recovered from that. But I did manage to get up, actually. Managed just to walk to the end of the corridor and back to the room again, which isn't a huge distance. But it's amazing how much difference it makes. So I'd definitely say anyone who's having like any surgeries like this, that although it can be scary and it can be painful first getting up, you feel so much better once you've actually been able to move around a bit. I feel a lot better in myself as well. I think because I'm not having the fentanyl anymore, my head's starting to clear, because my head's been really foggy ever since I came around on Wednesday. So yeah, so overall it's been really good. As I say, apart from that episode getting out of bed this morning, I'm actually feeling quite good. Well, much better than I thought I was going to be, much better. I'm not really having any pain at all at the moment. I felt a bit headachy earlier, but again, that's going. So yeah, I'm actually really comfortable right now. I haven't been getting that much sleep, but I think that's just sort of part and parcel of, because I've been sort of dozing during the day and sleeping. Again, with the fentanyl, I think I was having a bit too much, because yesterday evening when I stopped taking it, I couldn't even keep my eyes open. I was literally trying to force my eyes open. Yeah, I would probably say if you do have that self-administered pain relief, maybe don't get too trigger happy with it, because then you do get quite a lag from it afterwards. But yeah, overall feeling pretty good, really good actually. And as I say, the best possible outcome we could have had from the surgery. So yeah, it's pretty much a miracle. I don't know how long I'm going to be here before I get discharged. So it's Friday evening now. I think probably tomorrow we'll try and move around a bit more than I have today. So get out of the bed more than once and walk around some more, so that hopefully maybe Sunday or Monday maybe go home. That would be the ideal. Obviously I want to get home as soon as I can, and I seem to be doing pretty well at the moment, so hopefully that will be the case. I know I look pretty, well, not that I ever look very good in these videos anyway. I'm looking pretty rough right now, but I don't really care. I really don't care. Yeah, so just amazing news, feeling good, and yeah, I will speak to you guys soon. Okay, bye.